Hey friends, it is your friend in flowers, Lisa Mason Ziegler, and glad to be with you guys tonight. I want to talk a little bit about the Flower Farmer Club because the doors are closing tomorrow night, and I want to kind of run through what is actually what you get when you join the club, what that community is really all about. But you know, if we've been together for a while, you know how I roll, kind of like air and all. And so I want to just say that this Flower Farmer Club is a place of real talk. And from me, it is a private community that I have created to really be able to help people that are on their journey of flower farming. And this does not replace learning how to become a flower farmer, which is, you know, flower farming school, the basics is what that's all about, the whole step-by-step of the whole enchilada. This club is what I'm really looking at as kind of like a continuing education and an amazing support group. The continuing education part, I'll tell you in just a moment, you won't believe the resources, y'all. I mean, there is so much good stuff in there. Which, by the way, is all cataloged and libraried, so you don't lose it. So the club we started it last year, and so there's about, I'm going to guess, 12 master classes in there. They're all in there for you to go watch. As long as you're a member, you have access to all the stuff, right? But in addition to all that stuff, there's me in there to support you. And, you know, I'm really all about helping, reminding, nudging, pushing when I have to keep people in their lane. Meaning, if you're starting out or you're in your first or second year, you know, that is not the time to go down a bunch of rabbit holes exploring other stuff. It's the time to get really good at what you need to do to build a strong foundation of a flower farming business. Because, you know, once you really have a flower farming business where you've learned how to flower farm, you've sold and learned how to do that, you have built your knowledge. I mean, it is amazing the opportunities that can grow from there. Piggyback, if you want to actually call it that. And so helping you to stay in your lane, for me, is a really big piece of the Flower Farmer Club. And, you know, I want to walk with you along your journey on that flower farming thing. So I want to just run through what, first off, you can actually comment here, club, and that'll DM you a link to the sales page. However, if you would like to have a little look at some of the resources that are in the club, you can actually comment PEEK, P-E-E-K here, and we will DM you the link to a page that has, you know, I think there's a master class and there's a podcast. There's some of the resources that you'll find inside the club, which I'll tell you more about them in just a minute. But the Flower Farmer Club is really a private space for people to come together that have a shared interest. And that interest for this club, this community, is flower farming. It's all about growing flowers, selling flowers, and everything in between for all of that. So what you would expect to get inside, or what is inside the club each month. So first up, we have what's called the Flower Farmer Forum. And that is a meetup, a virtual meetup, where I do a mini training, like a 15-minute, something that's seasonal, you know, something that's applicable to the timeline. And like Monday night, so it's usually the last Monday of every month. And it's in the evening. And so the mini training that I did this past Monday was about, you know, don't start too early, and talking about where we are in our journey of cool flowers, and, you know, just talking about the things of the season, about not starting your warm stuff too early and what you're supposed to be doing. And then I do a live Q&A. Questions can be submitted ahead of time if you can't be there for some reason, and you can submit during the live show. And then again, that's recorded and cataloged, so you can always go back and watch that if you've submitted a question. And then we have master classes. I do a master class every month. some great topics in there. The one that is my favorite, because y'all just know I love starting seeds, right? Well, it's not a seed starting masterclass. It's a seedling tending masterclass. Because while a lot of us manage to learn how to start the seeds, it's the rest of the story. That's that journey until they go out in the garden. So I did a masterclass on that. The masterclass that just dropped in January, this like 2 weeks ago or something, was storytelling and marketing your flower farm. I actually interviewed the marketing agency that I actually use and have used for 3 years, John, the owner of that business. And he gave some excellent information really about starting out, how to market your business. And and then I could go on about the masterclass. The masterclasses for this club, the masterclasses alone for me are really key. So I did a masterclass last year. We talked about drying all your leftovers, all your leftover flowers, and how we did that and do that with no further real investment, right? And then we followed that up. I'm not sure if it's October or November's master classes. Okay, now what do I do with all those dried flowers, right? And we talked some real talk, y'all. I talked about how, we all have these dreams of we're going to craft with them and we're going to do all these things and make money. And it turns out that it can be incredibly time craziness. It's hard to make money doing things that we're not really good at. That's the reason so many flower farmers fail, right? Because they start doing all these different things. But with the dried flowers, the point was the simplest, most straightforward way to actually take those leftovers that you would have composted that are still in good shape, you dry them, and now what do? We talk about the best ways to make the most out of that. And that's the kind of master classes that you're going to find over there. And then we do these seasonal challenges. And the challenge that we're in right now, it's called the Winter Challenge. And we challenged everybody, and I participate in picking a resource that you have, whether it's a book or maybe it's a course. And maybe you've gone through it, maybe you've read it. But my recommendation is always to people, because I have found this to be incredibly valuable to me. I reread the same business and flower farming books and growing books over and over. There's not a whole bunch of them that are really clear for what I need. And every time I reread them, I learn so much. Oh, thank you, Wanda. Wanda, our friend, is here. She's an Alaskan peony grower. You need to connect with her. She is Fox Hollow Peonies. You ought to follow her. She is the peony expert. And Wanda's in our club. So thank you, Wanda, for those words. What did she say? The Flower Farmer Club is awesome. You get so much support and info for a small fee, basically the price of selling one bouquet. Worth every penny. I can always depend on Wanda to bring the business bottom line in when I'm doing lives like this. And that's a great point. So the club is $19.95 a month, or you can purchase it for a year and you get 2 months free. So that makes it like $16.50 or something like that. So thank you, Wanda, for chiming in on that. And so the Winter Challenge, I have to tell you guys, so ever you pick a book or you pick whatever, and you commit to yourself, not to anybody else, that you're going to go deep on it. You're going to read it to cover. So I picked this business book that I read like 15 years ago. And it's a real simple, it's my kind of writing, y'all. It's like it just cuts to the chase and tells you the simple stuff you got to do, right? So I had read it all those years ago. Well, I decided, I knew that there was good stuff in there that applies so much more to me now in the way my business is. So I picked that. Well, I was dragging my feet to read it. I just couldn't find time. And then we had our meetup on Monday night, the Flower Farmer Forum, and I was so inspired by the members that were there. And I decided that, you know what, by golly, I am going to do this. Y'all, I have read so much of that book just since Monday night, and I have carved out so many nuggets that, in fact, I had a business meeting with the team today at the warehouse over some steps that we're going to take to figure some stuff out. because I just didn't really know what to do. Dig into your resources. Challenges are amazing. I never thought that it would work that way for me, but it did. So that's part of it. And then, friends, what I consider to be the real heart of the Flower Farmer Club is the community board. It works just like Facebook, but it's not in Facebook. It's on our private platform. And you can tag people, you can post pictures and videos, and you can have DMs, private DMs with people if you want. And it's really becoming a really amazing place. And that's actually where you will find me now. Kind of all those how-to posts and things that I spend a lot of time making them here on social, and then they just kind of disappear. They just float away and never get seen again. That doesn't happen over in the Flower Farmer Club. When I'm posting that stuff now over there, there's a search bar, y'all, a little hourglass that you can put a word in and you can search the community board. It is just so amazing, but also the support that happens there. And you have to know that I am the gatekeeper of this group, meaning this is a place where we can be totally vulnerable, we can be safe and trusted. You can practice social media posts over there if you want. That's what we talked about with the marketing agency about social media is what is available to the person starting out, where all you have to put in is your time, but you have to do it. And I know it's frightening, but this inside the club is a great place to do it. What's Wanda saying now? The Sewing Circle, which is on Wednesdays, is her favorite, like an old-fashioned quilting bee, except you get to sow seeds together with Lisa and learn from her. Thank you, Wanda. The Sewing Circle was actually Jessie named it. And when she said the Sewing Circle, I thought, oh my gosh, that is perfect instead of a sewing bee. So I agree. And so that happens on Wednesdays at 2 o'clock Central Eastern time here for about 30 minutes. And I sow seeds, but I have something I'm going to show y'all. That's something that I made on the Sewing Circle here in just a second. So we have the community board. Then we also have a private exclusive podcast. It's called the Bloomcast in there. This is made for my club members, and I really love doing that. Y'all know I just kind of love just really inspirational and helping to empower people. And sometimes that means from sharing your mistakes and stuff, right? And then we have what Wanda was talking about, the Sewing Circle. So the Sewing Circle was really started because people really couldn't get in the swing of starting their sunflowers every week. If you don't know about starting sunflowers every week, they're like a cash cow. They are such a big part of my flower farm for so many years. And so I wanted to start doing that to help instruct and lead people in that area. Well, what kind of grew out of that is I don't always have sunflowers to sow. We sow them a lot of months, up 6 weeks before our frost till 6 weeks before our last frost and before our first frost. And so we sow a lot of sunflowers, but we also sow a lot of other stuff. So Bobo lines me up with other things to sow to demonstrate and yammer on and talk to people while I do it. And then this winter, when we weren't sowing, November was kind of December are kind of the months that typically we aren't always starting seeds. So I actually made something on the Sewing Circle one week. Wait a minute, I'm getting it. Look what I made, y'all. This is my, these are rooster peppers. These are the peppers that we have the seed grown for us. It's an amazing cut flower pepper. You'll find those on our website. Anyway, the cash cow of these guys is not only florists buying the stems, but making fall wreaths. And I made this amazing wreath during the Sewing Circle. It's just on a grapevine wreath. And this hung on my front door for Christmas. This was my red Christmas wreath. So it's just a lot of darn fun, y'all. But I want to just tell you, if you've never experienced the community of being with other people that have a shared vision or a goal for what we all want a flower. We all want a flower farm. We're in very different places, perhaps. on the road, but we come together. And, my job that I see in this group is to really keep putting the cones out, to try to keep you in your lane of getting your business. Staying in your lane means to try to resist, as a business person, resisting to running way past where you really are. Going for those high risk, high valued crops that are high investment. Your time will come to grow those. This club for me is really a place to help flower farmers build solid foundations that they can launch anything from, to really get good at flower farming, because that's what we experience right now. I mean, I could really talk a long time about this, but I won't. We see so many, when I say we, I'm talking about seasoned flower farmers that have been business. I've been in business for 27 years. My peers, Dave Dowling, Jenny Love, all these Stephen Gretel Adams, I could list on and on, all these people that have actually done it and made it work and are still doing it perhaps. There's not many of us. When you compare who started with us and who made it through, and it's not that those of us that are still doing it, we're no smarter, we're no wiser, we weren't more educated. It is that we had what I like to call grit. We had the get up. We would get up every day and we'd take being knocked down 4 times every day and get up and do it again tomorrow. And that's literally what starting a business is really about, having that type of mentality. When you run ahead, like tulips, ranunculus, dahlias, all these high investment crops, when you still, don't know what you're doing, and that's a lot of people, it ruins your chance of ever having a successful business. And my goal for this club is to hold people back from doing that. That day will come. I'm not saying don't ever grow tulips or ranunculus, but you don't practice and learn how to flower farm on that kind of stuff. There's a better way and a much more profitable way. And the Flower Farmer Club is not going to teach you step by step how to start a flower farm. That's what Flower Farming School is about. The Flower Farmer Club is the continuing support and education to help remind you why we don't do that. It's not time to do that now. I was just commenting to somebody in there about they needed to start something and it was a little later than you should. It's like, you can do that, but you have to remember when it doesn't do well that you didn't plant it at the right time. My theory now in life is I don't do anything late or early. I try not to do early. If it's late, I just think, all right, putting that aside, putting it on my calendar so next year I'm not late, or next season, or whatever the case may be, and moving on to the next thing. It's us constantly looking over our shoulder and trying to catch what we missed instead of looking straight ahead. And, friends, the club is full of that kind of support and networking. And I want you to join January 31st, which is tomorrow, midnight. The doors are closing. What that's going to allow is I won't be doing this. I won't be here on social media trying to be sure that everybody is aware of it. I'll be able to just bear down on the club and dig in over there. So this is your invitation. You can comment PEEK, P-E-E-K here, and we'll DM you a link to see some of the resources from the club. And there's a link there to join. Or if you just want to go straight to the sales page and just really read a lot about it, watch a little short video, you can comment club here and we'll DM that to you. Or you can just visit thegardenersworkshop.com. And if you get there before tomorrow night at midnight, the link's right at the top of every page. So friends, I don't see any questions in here. I'll be happy to answer any questions about the club. The club is, it's $19.95 a month, or you can buy an annual subscription for a year, and that gives you 2 months free. And I just want to say thank you again, Wanda, for your support. Wanda has taken our courses. She is just, hook, line, and sinker, just like me. It's like we understand the value of, I think actually you're the one that said this, Wanda, of filling your toolbox with tools to use. And we've created the club as another tool because of the searchability, because all the resources are cataloged and libraried in there, which means you can just go back and watch them at any time and listen anytime. Just makes them an incredible tool. So friends, thegardenersworkshop.com is where you'll find home base for everything we do. And this is my invitation for you to join me inside the club. And I hope to see you inside of the Flower Farmer Club. Till we meet again, friends. Ciao.